Welcome to Kayfabe Crimes, the podcast where wrestling is not an alibi. I'm Kim.
And I'm Aaron, and together we investigate the crimes committed by wrestlers all over the world, and we discuss what sentencing we think they should be getting within the UK. Today we're going to switch things up a little bit. Normally it's me doing most of the talking, and then Kim jumps in with her opinion. But today Kim really wanted to do one of these crimes, so yeah, take it away. Yeah,
well, it's about time that Swerve got what's coming to him. But don't worry, but it's not the crime you think, okay? This crime is, if you can get a hint, nice hint, when Swerve kidnapped Daddy Ass and broke his fingers. Okay, so I'll give you a bit of a backstory in case you didn't watch it back then because it was a few years ago, or you just don't remember. So a couple of weeks beforehand, it was Swerve in Our Glory versus the Acclaimed for the tag titles, which the Acclaimed won, but only because Daddy Ass got involved. He intimidated Swerve and then hit him with the Famouser, and then he rolled him into the ring, and I can't remember who pinned him, but one of the Acclaimed pinned him, whilst the other one kind of
he kept
Keith Lee back as much as he could. So obviously Swerve is pissed.
One man to piss off as well. Yeah.
And he's, sneaky Swerve. This is around the time when he first became a heel. But I remember it. And I remember saying, I fucking told you I didn't trust him. I didn't trust him when he first joined. And so he kidnaps Daddy Ass. Yeah,
because they're having the Acclaim come to the ring whilst Tony Schiavone and Keith Lee are in the ring talking, and Swerve, and then the Acclaim come out and start like, where the fuck's Daddy Ass, basically, and then like Swerve's like, Keith Lee's like, I don't know, and then the
and Tony's like, well, he got a call from it's got a family emergency,
family emergency,
and then they're like, no, he's not. Where's family? And then on the screen behind them, Swerve does his little director's thing with his grills, and he's like, "Oh, I'm a director now for like horror movies, as well as like a music mogul, blah blah blah." And then we see Daddy Ass, and
the camera pans to Daddy Ass, and he's tied up in I assume he's tied up, but he's not getting up.
Yeah,
he's in a chair.
Yeah, what I love most though, he's like, "Oh my god, just whatever, let me go." He's really not asked that he's been kidnapped. Until Swerve gets all up behind him and right up in his ears and telling him, I'm going to fight them again at Full Gear, I think it was. Yeah. And you're not going to be there. And he gets some pliers out and shows him. And Daddy Ass is like, what are you doing? I don't fucking think so. And he is like, I'm going to make sure you're in the hospital, and uses the pliers on his fingers and assumedly breaks them. Yeah, and I'm assuming
we don't exactly see him, because the noise he's making, he's definitely doing something to the to the fingers behind there. Like you said, I assume it's going to be broken. Yeah,
and he's like, you motherfucker, and that's where it ends. Yeah.
Okay, so when you decided you want to do this one, I obviously had to do some research into what type of crimes.
And I need a drink now.
Clearly, obviously, the pliers is going to be some sort of assault, so we'll have a look at what type of assault. So if you want to break them down in a bit, but first we'll have a look at what is kidnapping, because it's the first time we've done this on the podcast. Probably not going to be the last either, with wrestling being so weird. And then we'll go through all the different types of crime, and then we'll break down what sentencing we think he should get. So the legal definition of kidnapping is to take someone unwillingly and then keep them illegally imprisoned without their valid consent. It's normally done with motives such as financial gain in the form of a ransom, or in this case, I think it's probably more revenge. It's a revenge kidnapping, so he could hurt him more. Clearly, that he's definitely, like, Daddy Ass does not want to be there. He's not there willingly. So I think that definitely falls under the legal definition of kidnapping within the UK. Yeah. And then now, if you want to have a look, we'll have a look at what type of assault we think he is.
Yeah.
We'll go through the 3 different types of assault.
There are 3 different types, which we have gone over quite a few times.
Yes.
But
So if you've watched this podcast regularly, you could probably skip through about 20 seconds.
yeah. So common assault is simply when a person inflicts violence on someone else or makes them think they're going to be attacked. Doesn't have to involve physical violence. It could just be threatening words or raised fists.
ABH, or actual bodily harm, means the assault has caused some hurt or injury to the victim. Physical injury does not need to be serious or permanent, but must be more than trifling or transient. I think they are going to be the 2 important words. So we're deciding which one it is today.
Yeah.
Which means it must at least cause minor injuries or pain or discomfort.
And then GBH is the assault has caused serious physical harm. Doesn't have to be permanent or dangerous. For example, a broken bone would amount to GBH simply because it might lead to permanent disability, but sometimes it doesn't.
I think it falls straight on the GBH. He was gone for a bit, and when he did come back, his hand was all like plastered, like covered up, wrapped up. So he'd clearly done some damage to his fingers there. He couldn't scissor for a while, which I think is another crime as well in itself, because it depraved millions and millions of people. I know you didn't like scissoring.
I didn't like scissoring.
But it depraved millions and millions and millions of fans of being able to scissor with Daddy Ass, which was very disappointing. I think that might be the most serious crime we're doing to talk about today.
Okay.
But yeah, I think it's just GBH basically. I fall straight into that one. I think there's not really any argument you can have with ABH, because it's not trifling or transient. It wasn't just a quick thingy or that. So yeah, I think it's definitely not common. So I don't think it's going to be ABH. I think it's going to be GBH.
Yeah, I agree. GBH.
Okay. So which one would you like to talk about first? Kidnap or the GBH?
I think we go in the order of how the crime happened.
Yeah, fair enough.
So
Yeah, that makes most sense, doesn't it? Yeah.
So, kidnap, we've got to determine the offence.
So when we're determining what sentencing to give somebody for a crime they have committed, there's 2 different things we discuss. One is culpability, so how much did they do this crime? How much are they to blame for doing this crime? Were they coerced, or was it something they wanted to do? Was there any pre-planning? That type of thing. And then with harm, which is the second determining factor, it's basically how much harm has been caused because of this crime. So we'll go through culpability first, work out which level of culpability we think it is, and then we'll go through harm.
Yep.
Do you want to do high culpability, A?
Yeah, so there are actually 3 for this one, which is not something that happens often on this podcast. So the first one, high culpability, is the detention over a protracted period of time, very sophisticated and highly planned nature of conduct, deliberate targeting of particularly vulnerable victim, use of a highly dangerous weapon or weapon equivalent to inflict violence, prolonged or repeated extreme violence, or torture or sadistic conduct.
Yep. For B, which is medium culpability, significant force or violence used or threatened the victim and or others, use of any weapon to inflict or threaten violence with it, which does not fall within category A, planned nature of the offence, and other cases that fall between categories A or C.
And then finally, we have lower culpability, which is some use of force in the commission of the offence, limited planning or duration, involved through coercion, intimidation, or exploitation, or offender's responsibility substantially reduced by mental disorder or learning disability.
So I think the differentiation of this one is going to be whether we think it's a highly dangerous weapon or not. Because there's the 2 different in the thingy. It does tell you, there is a description of what a highly dangerous weapon is as well, so I'm going to read that out to help us make the decision. A highly dangerous weapon can include weapons such as knives and firearms. Highly dangerous weapon equivalents can include corrosive substances. Highly dangerous weapon equivalents can include corrosive substances whose dangerous nature must be substantially above or beyond the legal definition of an offensive weapon, which is any article made or adapted for use for causing injury, or is intended by the person having it with him for such use. So I think it doesn't actually fall into a higher.
I don't think so. I think it's just a weapon.
Yeah. If it was any more longer that he had done it, you could say that it was torture or sadistic conduct, but don't think it quite falls under them. Because he just pliers his hands and then fucks off, I assume, because he walked away.
Yeah.
can't even remember how they define it. I think it is somewhere at the back, and the Acclaimed guys come and find them. But yeah, I think it doesn't fall under torture, and like we said, it's not a highly dangerous weapon. So I personally think it should be B.
Yeah, I think it's B. I mean, it was obviously planned.
Yeah.
He knew what he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And he caused some violence, so...
Yeah, it wasn't a sophisticated or highly planned nature.
No.
It clearly just grabbed them and tied them up at the back somewhere. And
it's been
found...
like, Billy, Billy, I've been told there's an emergency, you need to come with me. And then, knocked him out or something. Yeah. I don't know. No. We didn't see that bit.
No. So yeah, I think B medium culpability.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we need to determine the harm.
Mm-hmm.
There are 3 categories for this one. Mm-hmm. Category 1 is very serious psychological harm caused to the victim and or others. Mm-hmm. Very serious injury caused to the victim. Mm-hmm. Category 2 is serious psychological harm or serious distress caused to the victim. Mm-hmm. Serious injury or serious pain caused to the victim. Mm-hmm. And category 3 is anything else.
Mm-hmm. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking... I don't know whether it would be 1 or 2 because it was a pretty serious injury.
It was a very serious injury because he couldn't scissor for a while, which is very serious. And he obviously would have caused some sort of psychological harm to the Acclaimed and the Guns, etc. as well. Because obviously the Guns are his kids as well. He's got many kids.
I mean,
he was a wrestler in the 90s. He's got plenty of kids.
Yeah. Keith Lee also looked a bit disturbed.
Yeah, Keith Lee was like, I've got nothing to do with this bullshit. Nothing to do with me, this.
Yeah.
So we're going for B and 1.
Yeah.
B and 1. Okay.
Okay, so starting point and category range. So B and 1, starting point is 7 years.
Yep.
With the range being 5 to 10 years.
So with the range, there's a few factors that can either bump up or lower down your sentencing. So we'll start at 7, and then we'll have a look at what other things that might affect it, and we can either go higher or lower than the 7-year start. Okay.
Okay, so things that can increase it. Mm-hmm. The offence was committed in a domestic abuse context. No, because they're not family.
No.
Or in a relationship.
Yeah, it's just, I don't think they have to be family. They could be even just like living together for domestic abuse, but like there's no connection between the two.
No.
Yeah.
There's history of violence or abuse towards the victim by the offender.
Well, it's wrestling, so yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't think it really counts for this one. Nothing is really going to count for this one. Then there's the presence of children. Well, there was in the audience, but they're not where the actual crime was being committed, so I don't think it really counts for this one either. The victim was particularly vulnerable. Daddy Ass is quite old. He's probably one of the toughest fuckers going still, so I don't think I don't think he counts as being vulnerable.
The offence committed in context of other criminal activity.
Yes and no, because obviously he did GBH because of it, but I think it's more like you've kidnapped somebody to rob them or something along them lines. I don't think it really counts for this one.
Detention in an isolated location. We don't think so. I mean, it kind of looks it, but he
could save, so it can't be that isolated. No. I don't know. We don't really find out where he actually was. No. So yeah, I don't think it really counts with that one.
Use of humiliation or degrading treatment.
Not really. No. Victims of providing a public service or performing a public duty, well, unless you count scissoring as a public service.
Which I do not, because it made me uncomfortable.
Or the offence was committed as part of a group. No, his teammate want nothing to do with that. He was like, no, lad, no, that's nothing to do with me.
The commission of the offence... The commission of the offence for financial gain? No. Unless you can say, like, winning his titles back.
Yeah, but like...
I don't think so.
No, I don't think it
counts. Blame wrongly placed on others? No.
Commission offence while under the influence of alcohol or drugs? No.
We'd assume not. He seemed pretty sober to me.
Yeah.
Abuse of trust or dominant position?
No. Okay, so next we're going to go through what factors would reduce the seriousness of a crime. The offence was in a lesser or subordinate role if acting with others. Perform limited role on the direction. No, he was the leader. He was the only sole person doing it all by himself.
Yeah. It's like, I'm doing this.
Cooperation with the investigation, early admissions. No, he doesn't give a fuck.
I mean, what does that mean exactly? Like,
so
he helps them find him or something?
So like he admits that he did it like while he's like still like locked up and stuff like that.
I mean, he filmed it, so
I don't think that counts.
It's like, I'm a director now.
No. Remorse, I don't think he's ever, other than obviously the one clear one that he's recently done, I don't think he's ever had remorse for anything he's ever done.
No.
In wrestling anyway.
No. Was he pregnant?
No.
During childbirth or postnatal care? No. Difficult and or deprived background or personal circumstances? I mean, he grew up poor, didn't he? So, but he's a bit...
I feel like that one, like, we can kind of scrap that one because they're all on AEW wrestling, they're all making a lot of money, like, by this point. Like,
I suppose.
It's like...
He is a really high-paid...
Yeah, it's difficult.
I mean, not quite at this point, but...
Prospects of or in work, training or education, it's not affected his work at all.
No.
His work does not give a shit. As we say every week, Tony Khan does not care. You could commit, or if you want to commit a crime, become a wrestler, because nobody cares.
Positive character and or exemplary conduct.
Depends on how he acts it all in. We might forgive him for all of his crimes if he helps Hangman at all in.
I don't know what Will was thinking. I just don't know.
Will's trying to get the best team together, and he knows that Swerve is a psycho. Obviously, it's a hard hill to climb, but Will thinks he can do it.
I think he should have gone to Hangman first, but anyway, I digress.
All right, Taz. Taz is going to come after you for giving infringements. Just don't wear orange and you'll be okay.
Got it. So he has a physical disability or serious medical conditions requiring urgent, intensive or long-term treatment. Nah, he's fine. He has a mental disorder or learning disability.
No.
Nope.
Age or lack of maturity. I don't think he's under 25.
He's not.
Or sole or primary care for dependent relatives. No. Determination or demonstration of steps have been taken to address addiction or offending behaviour. Nope, not in the slightest. So, unless we want to be dickheads, I think we just keep it in the middle. Keep it at 7, because like
7 years custody.
7 years for kidnap. So 7 years. Write that down because I'll forget otherwise later on.
Next, he caused some grievous bodily harm by breaking his fingers.
We'll go all nostalgic now and talk about GBH. I could just put one of our old clips in this bit here where it just does talk about GBH 20 times a show.
No, I think we only did GBH like twice.
Okay.
So, we've got to determine his culpability for GBH. There are 3 levels to this one.
Mm-hmm.
The high culpability is a significant degree of planning or premeditation.
Mm-hmm.
The victim is vulnerable due to age, personal characteristics or circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's old, but he's not vulnerable.
No.
Use of a highly dangerous weapon or weapon equivalent.
Mm-hmm. We already discussed that. I think if that is the defining factor again, it's going to be the other one.
Yeah. Strangulation, suffocation or asphyxiation. Not this time.
Nope.
Leading role in a group activity. Nope. He's the only one.
Yep.
Prolonged, persistent assault. Or revenge, but it was revenge.
Yeah, so we'll go for the other ones just for completion, and we'll see if he falls into one of the other ones. So use of a weapon or weapon equivalent, which does not fall in with category A lesser role in a group activity, or any cases that fall between category high and low culpability. I don't like the way they changed that between category high and low halfway through. That doesn't throws me off. But anyway, go on.
And then lesser culpability. Yep. There's no weapon used. It's excessive self-defense. Mm-hmm. The offender acted in response to prolonged or extreme violence or abuse by victim, or he has a mental disorder or learning disability.
Yeah. There's no other thing that fall into any of the categories other than the revenge. Mm-hmm. Also, he uses the weapon, but I think the revenge tips it above into A for me.
Mm-hmm. Because that was the whole
that's
plot
the
of
whole
Revenge,
the whole motivation
motive,
for doing it was revenge because he lost the titles.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So how much harm did he cause?
So category 1 is particularly grave or life-threatening injury caused.
No.
Injury resulted in physical or psychological harm resulting in lifelong dependency on a third-party care.
No.
Offences result in a permanent, irreversible injury or psychological condition which has a substantial or long-term effect on the victim.
Nope, I wouldn't say
No, I
no
wouldn't
to
think
any
any
of
of
those.
them. No.
Category 2 is grave injury, or the offence results in a permanent, irreversible injury or condition not falling within Category 1.
Mm-hmm.
And then 3 is anything else, basically.
Yeah. I think it might fall into 3.
I was going to say 3 because
Yeah.
it's serious harm. It's a broken bone.
Yeah.
But it's not
It's not grave, obviously, because grave implies he's
life-threatening.
life-threatening. And it's not... None of it's permanent because he's still scissoring now. His scissor fingers do not seem damaged in the slightest.
They've healed.
They have healed, so I think it's going to fall into category 3 because of that.
Yeah, so it was
A
A
and
and
3.
3, which is a starting point of 5 years custody.
Yep.
With a category range between 4 and 7.
And I think this time we take a quick glance down and see if any of these extra increasing or decreasing factors are any different. But I don't think they do. They are. No, they look exactly the same as they were before.
Yeah.
As the last offence. I think he should get a total of 5 years for that one because neither is increasing or decrease, is there. So together with the 7 years from the kidnap, the 5 years from the GBH, that comes out as 12 years for the kidnap of Billy Gunn.
Yep.
Yeah, are you happy with that sentencing?
I'm happy with that sentencing.
Yeah. Are you happy? Is that enough revenge for Hangman, or do you think he needs to have more sentencing done? And do we need to find another crime for future reference? I know that's your main motivation for doing this one, was to get some like balance between Swerve and Hangman.
Oh yeah,
has the book been balanced?
Ish. We can find more crimes for him at some point.
So he's not atoned enough then, is what you're saying?
Not yet. We'll see it all in. We'll see what happens.
So we'll give him to all in to atone for his sins.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't help Hangman, we'll find another crime for him.
Yep.
Okay, deal. I like that. Okay, so that brings us to the end of this week's episode. Thank you so much for listening. If you haven't already, if you could like the video, because it really helps us out with the algorithm. If you haven't, again, already, give us a subscribe. We literally have a little party every time we get a little subscription. I think we're up to 27 now at the moment, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when if you put 27 people in a room...
That's a lot of people.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to talk to everybody.
That would stress me out.
So thank you so much to our 27 followers. It really means a lot to us. If you can think of any crimes you'd like us to discuss next, we haven't. They don't have to be AEW. I know we've only done AEW at the moment, but they don't have to be AEW. They can be from anywhere, any wrestling company, as long as we get video. If it's an independent company, maybe that would be quite cool. We would like to do some more independent stuff.
That'd be fun.
If not, whatever you can think of, there's loads of crimes out there. Leave a little comment and tell us what you think we should be doing next.
Yes, please. We're only doing AEW because that's the one I know most. But
yeah, well, I think for the next one, if nobody else suggests something, I've got something that I won't say enjoy, but it'll be really good for you to do, and it's not AEW centric, so it'll be a good one.
Okay.
But I don't want to tell you about it until you've watched the video, because I want to record you watching the video.
Oh God. All right then.
So yeah, because I've got a little nice neat list on my phone which I've not showed her yet of photo ones I think will be really good.
Yeah. Can you maybe find another crime for me, people, please? I'm scared.
Okay, anyway, thank you very much for listening, and goodbye. We'll see you later.
Yeah, see you later.